We'll call this meeting of the organizational meeting of the Crow Wing County Board of Commissioners to order. Please stand for a pledge to the flag and a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. First order of business on the agenda is the election of the chair and vice chair for 2021. I would accept nominations for the chair role for 2021.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion following the chair and vice chair rotation that the county's been following and nominate Commissioner Barrows for chair for the year 2021.
Nomination's been made for Commissioner Barrows. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Commissioner Hoag. Are there any other nominations? Are there any other nominations? Third and final call. Are there any other nominations? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. I would accept nominations from the floor for the vice chair for 2021.
Tim, do I need to do a roll call?
Oh, yes, I'm sorry. Thank you. We'll do a roll call vote on the chair.
Commissioner Brecken?
Aye.
Commissioner Barrows?
Aye.
Commissioner Hoag?
Aye.
Commissioner Franzine? Aye. Commissioner Coring?
Aye.
Thank you, Therese. Nominations from the floor for vice chair for 2021.
Mr. Chair, if I may, I would like to nominate Commissioner Hoag for the vice chair position for the year of 2021.
Nomination has been made for Commissioner Hoag for vice chair for 2021. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Second by Commissioner Barrows. Are there any other nominations? Are there any other nominations? Third and final call. Are there any other nominations? Therese, if you could call the roll.
Commissioner Barrows?
Yes.
Commissioner Hoag?
Aye.
Commissioner Franzine?
Aye.
Commissioner Coring?
Aye.
Commissioner Brecken?
Aye.
And Mr. Chair, because there is no change in the rotation, I think everybody probably is going to stay put. Normally we would take a recess. Not sure it's necessary today.
Very good. Thank you very much. I think we're all comfortable in our chairs, I'm assuming. So with that, I would look for a motion to review and approve the minutes from the 12/29/2020 regular county board meeting minutes.
Mr. Chair, do you want to call for any open forum?
Yes, ma'am. Where did I miss that? I checked it off already. So if there's anyone out there who has anything they would like to speak to the county board on a subject other than what's on our current agenda, please identify yourself.
I don't think there's anybody on there.
Hearing none, we'll move on to item number 4, to review and approve the minutes. I'd look for a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Commissioner Coring makes a motion to approve.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Franzine. Therese, if you would call the roll call, please.
Commissioner Hoag?
Aye.
Commissioner Franzine?
Aye.
Commissioner Coring?
Aye.
Commissioner Brecken?
Aye.
Commissioner Barrows?
Chair votes aye. Motion passes. Item number 5 today is to review and approve the agenda. I'd look for a motion to approve.
So move.
Commissioner Hoag makes the motion to approve.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Franzine. Therese, if you would call the roll call, please.
Commissioner Franzine?
Aye.
Commissioner Coring?
Aye.
Commissioner Brecken?
Aye.
Commissioner Hoag?
Aye.
Commissioner Barrows?
Chair votes aye. Motion passes. Consent agenda.
Motion to approve.
Commissioner Franzine makes the motion to approve.
I'll second.
Commissioner Brecken makes the second. Therese, if you would call that roll call, please.
Commissioner Coring?
Aye.
Commissioner Brecken?
Aye.
Commissioner Hoag?
Aye.
Commissioner Franzine?
Aye.
Commissioner Barrows?
Chair votes aye. Motion passes. We are on item number 7, County Sheriff. Sheriff Goddard is here today, and we're excited about that.
Back from Florida.
Wow.
Mr. Chair, Commissioners, just a short update, but I wanted to share with you a couple personnel changes that we had. With Joe Meyer leaving, retiring December 31st, we had a couple advancements that we were able to move forward. So they're names that are known to you, but I certainly just want to recognize them today. So Andy Gallus is our new captain, so he's replacing Joe Meyer. He came up from the lieutenant's position. And then with that opening the lieutenant's position, we placed Troy Nash. Troy came from us as a sergeant that ran our LADID, our Lakes Area Drug Investigative Division, for a number of years. So both of them are well-versed in our office and the happenings, but stepping into new roles is exciting. Troy, for one, has worked drugs for a number of years, so we see him clean-shaven as of January 1, which was kind of a take-back for him, a little bit. So. Other than that, just thank you for working with us this last year. It's been a difficult year for all of us. I wouldn't say we weren't as busy, because we were as busy, but it was a different kind of busy. From anything from the administrative side to dispatch, even our patrol, and even our jail on how we process people. So, call for services numbers, I don't think we'll really recognize the work that we did, because our call for service were down, our jail numbers were down, but the steps and the work that we had to do, kudos to all of our employees for making that happen. So we are all, and I know you can speak to this too, we are all looking forward to a much better year in 2021. So thank you. Any questions? I'd certainly love to answer them.
Any questions?
Yeah, Mr. Chair. Sheriff Goddard, this line 3, we're starting to see some activity. What's happening with that, or what's on your radar?
We are, so line 3, there's been a number of articles out locally and even on some Metro News, if you will, reference to some protests that have taken place. Really, there have been a few arrests, but the people that have been out there voicing their concerns, we're recognizing, we as law enforcement, recognizing their right, to peacefully protest. There have been some violations that people have been held accountable for. So we're just getting into the mix of it. Within Crow Wing here, we've seen some construction type activity, and I've driven part of the line that's viewable and recognizable both in Cass County and Crow Wing County. I've been up on 84 and into Crow Wing County where they're passing. So they are doing some construction, a lot of grubbing out of trees and stuff right now. But we've got a very small piece of the pie. We're only looking at 5 to 6 miles roughly, all the way up in Gale Lake Township. But we are partners in this, and we know that the Sheriff's Office is going to be tasked with helping out throughout the coming months. Some people have said 12 up to 18 months that we're looking for activity. So we're going to see not only the activity on the pipeline itself, but also all that's really related and associated with that. So we're going to see a number of construction workers coming into our area. We're going to see some housing, coming into our area, temporary housing for them, and keeping them busy and fed and entertained. And some of them are, a hard-working group, and others that like to go out in the evening. So we'll see how this coming summer goes. But, the cold weather is a benefit to us right now. It keeps people kind of limited to what they can do. We'll see what the warm temperatures do bring.
Thank you.
Commissioner Coring, any questions for the sheriff?
None for the sheriff, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you. I would just like to say thank you to your department and all the adjustments that have had to be made this year, and I think that you guys did an excellent job over there adjusting to what we call the temporary new norm.
Yeah.
And we'll see if that isn't a longer term new norm, but I think everybody over there responded extremely well, and certainly we appreciate that, Sheriff.
Yeah,
So,
thank you. And we're looking forward to the vaccines. They started to trickle into our area here, and we've been able to vaccinate a couple of our jail personnel with leftover vaccines from the direct care recipients that were getting them. So we've seen some benefits to that already, but obviously we're months away from we see mass numbers coming in, but we're very hopeful that that'll be sooner than later. So.
okay, very good.
Thank you
very much. County Attorney, is Mr. Ryan on the?
I don't see him.
Okay. Having nothing there, we'll move to the number 9, County Administrator.
Mr. Chair, members of the board, there was no senior management team meeting since our last county board meeting, which was just late last week, so I have nothing to report there. I would move on to my next item, if that is okay with you, Mr. Chair.
Yes.
You have a request for board action to award the 2021 printing and publishing bid, and we put together the summary for you as we have in the past years. So I'm not going to read you the summary, but what I would say is that we have bids for the legal publication, and we do it at 7.5 font, just so we can compare apples to apples. Not that we necessarily need to publish in 7.5, but that's the price, and we only pay for that rate. So you can see that the combined bid for the Brainerd Dispatch, Crosby Ironton Courier, and Pequot Lakes Echo Journal came in as well this year. And then we also received a bid from the Newshopper, which is, I think, located in Aiken, but spreads across into Crow Wing County considerably. The combined bid decreased the daily rate from $10.37 a column inch to $10. The combined bid decreased the Sunday rate from $12.42 to $10. The Newshopper stayed the same at $8. That's a 0% increase. Second publication of the financial statement, the Newshopper's bid was to go from 7 to 6. That's a 14% decrease. The Courier, second publication of the financial statement, increased from $6.35 to $7.39. And so the pros of the combined bid from our perspective is that it provides a slightly larger, well, it provides a larger subscriber calculation. And there is a difference between a free newspaper and a purchased newspaper. You're more likely to read the purchased one than the free one. So I think that is relevant for us in terms of trying to get the legals into the hands of the people who most need it. Although the cost comparison per column inch by subscriber reached is slightly higher, the combined bid has paid subscribers. The convenience of scheduling publications and legal notices 2 days a week instead of one. We did run into issues, more difficulties with that in the past. So the recommendation from staff is that the combined bid of the Brainerd Dispatch, Crosby Ironton Courier, Pine and Lakes Echo Journal be accepted, and that the Brainerd Dispatch be designated as our newspaper for official publications for the County of Crow Wing during calendar year 2021. We are recommending a change in the second publication of the financial statement, which last year, I believe, went to the Crosby Ironton Courier, and this year we're recommending that it be awarded to the Newshopper, and that's primarily just because of change in the bid rates between the two for the publication of the second financial. Happy to answer any questions you may have.
Commissioner Coring, any questions?
Yes, I do have a question. So I'm wondering, I know that last year when we did this, Tim, you brought up the point that being that the Newshopper is one publication weekly, and the Brainerd Dispatch used to be 6 days a week, now that it's gone from Wednesdays to, 2 days a week, has that put us in a position where it's hard to get a notification in the paper? Or being that the Brainerd Dispatch has online subscriptions, does that meet our statutory obligation? You understand my question?
I think I do. It's unclear whether or not electronic newspapers that are exclusively electronic would meet the bid law requirements for official publication in Minnesota. At some point in time, it's going to need to. It's not a question of if, it's just a question of when. I don't believe we're there quite yet, but we're going to get there, aren't we? I'm going to ask Therese to answer the question of the 2 days a week versus the 6 days compared to the Newshopper. She probably has the best firsthand experience of whatever difficulties there are associated with that, or not.
I haven't found any problems, Mr. Chair. Commissioner Coring, I haven't found any problems with the change. And actually, I've always published in Wednesday, and Wednesday is one of their days that they have print. And now they've added Sunday as a print day for legals, which never was in the past. So I am able to either get it in Sunday or Wednesday. I can't speak to other departments. I don't know when they put, I know that Land Services puts all their stuff in, Highway, they have advertisement for bids, that kind of stuff. They may use different days, but I've always used Wednesday as my standard date. And so it hasn't been a problem for me. Does that answer your question?
Oh. Yeah, it does. It does.
Okay.
I guess
Thank you.
one other question for Tim Houle. So if you look at the bid side by side, which is the least expensive to the taxpayers? I know you're recommending the Brainerd Dispatch, but what money-wise, how does it shake out?
Well, there's two things. The only thing I can compare for you is the rate difference between the two, because what will drive the total cost is a combination of the rate we have to pay per column inch and the number of column inches we need to publish. And the number of column inches that we need to publish varies from year to year. So for instance, if we had, and we did, twice as many new delinquencies in 2020 versus 2019, then what you can see in the publication of the delinquent tax list is that drives a substantial change. So I can't compare the volumes because that's driven just by whatever's happening. The cheaper of the two alternatives would be the news hopper.
So based on that, Mr. Hool, that it's the circulation that drives sort of the decision.
I think it's a couple of things.
One of the points that we have to consider.
In my mind, it's the circulation, it's where the circulation is, and the fact that it's paid versus free. In my mind, if you're asking me what did I take into account when we came up with the recommendation, that's it.
Mr. Chair, Mr. Hoag.
Mr. Chair, can I?
Commissioner Hoag is going to go first, and then Commissioner Coring will get to you.
Okay.
To kind of ride off of Paul's comments, do we track the number of column inches that we do in a year?
We have not historically.
And I guess if so, my question was then what is that difference in dollar amounts? I don't know if that's something that could easily be looked at or not, but.
You could go back to the per column rates that were bid, and that's.
I would just like to get a feel for how much difference the two would be based on the number of column inches versus the two rates, and if that's possible.
Mr. Chair, so if I'm understanding your question, are you asking like to take what the total amount was for 2020 and divide it by $10.37, which was their rate?
Yeah.
That should give you how many column inches, right? Or am I oversimplifying that?
If the only thing we published were column inch things, we also published display ads every once in a while, and I think that might get mixed in there. So it wouldn't be a perfect calculation, but you certainly could.
But it would give us an idea how many dollars we're looking at. Is that doable, Therese, or?
Well, I know how much we spent in 2020.
Yeah, that's
in here. That was, we spent a total of $89,563.46. And a big chunk of that was the delinquent tax list, and it was published twice by law. It has to be published twice. And we had double amount of delinquencies that we normally do, is what Tim had found out from Gary.
Found. If you look at the, and I don't know if you can pull that up, Therese, but that portion that's in your packet, it shows you the 2018 total publication, 2019. This is the difficulty of not being able to pull it up. So Therese, if you could pull it up.
Yep.
And what you see is the significant difference between 2019 and 2020 is the delinquent tax list. And what I'm being told, it was a matter of a number of pages more. And Gary is on the line if you have a specific question about that, but, and Gary can correct me if I'm wrong, but it was a much longer list. So that's volume, not rate. So when you look at the totals, 44,000 in 2019 versus 89,000 in 2020, it can be very, very deceptive. It's a difference in the volume that we published, not because it's the Brainerd Dispatch in both of those 2 years cases. It's not the rates, it's the volume.
Commissioner Coring?
Mr. Chairman, Tim Hool, you said you kind of leaned on the paid-for subscription, and I see Pete Moses on here. Do we know what the current subscription is of people actually receiving the paper, copy of paper?
Mr. Chair,
Actually, that's in the packet too.
It is
yeah,
5770.
the circulation by zip code, 5,770 for the Dispatch. The Echo Journal has an additional 1146. The Crosby Ironton Courier has an additional 2111 for a total of 9,027 paid subscribers. The News Hopper has 9,319 free circulation within Crow Wing County. So they're very close in terms of total number. The one is paid subscribers versus free. They're close enough that we thought it makes more sense. We get a better value by getting into the paid subscription, and we have 2 times a week that we can work with.
Yeah, well, thank you for, the only thing I would say is, you know, Tim Hull, remember, as you were county administrator down in Morrison County, I remember the Morrison County Record, which is still free. People were waiting by their mailboxes to get that free subscription of the Morrison County Record. I think it's probably it's not apples and apples, it's different, but anyway, so I wouldn't put any less emphasis just because it's free.
I wouldn't either.
Any other questions? And I would look for a motion to approve the resolution as recommended by the staff in awarding of the 2021 printing and publishing bid.
Also move.
Commissioner Brecken moves to approve.
I'll second.
Commissioner Hoag makes the second. Therese, if you would call the roll call, please.
Commissioner Brecken,
Aye.
Commissioner Hogg,
Aye.
Commissioner Franzine,
Aye.
Commissioner Coring,
No.
Commissioner Barrows.
Chair votes aye, the motion passes. Move on to the resolution regarding the per meeting rates and meeting expenses.
Mr. Chair, members of the board, enclosed in your packet is a request for board action. It's a resolution regarding closed meetings that we pass every year, and the resolution calls for us to review it every year. It basically lays out the circumstances during which you will conduct a closed session, and it is for the provisions that are allowed by law: labor negotiation strategy, preliminary consideration of allegations against persons employed by the county, evaluations of the persons, of the performance of persons subject to the authority of the board, and conferences protected by the attorney-client privilege. Those are the meetings that we will close to the public and are allowed to do so by statute. It's our resolution confirming this is our intention.
As a note, I misspoke and moved on to the one following this one, so I want to correct that we're now speaking about the resolution regarding closed meetings.
Motion to approve.
Commissioner Franzine makes the motion to approve.
I'll second.
Second by Commissioner Hoag. Therese, if you would make the roll call, please.
Commissioner Hogg,
Aye.
Commissioner Franzine,
Aye.
Commissioner Coring,
Aye.
Commissioner Brecken,
Aye.
Commissioner Barrows.
Chair votes aye. Motion passes. Now we'll be on to the resolution regarding the per meeting rates and meeting expenses.
Mr. Chair, members of the board, also enclosed in your packet is a resolution regarding the per meeting rates and the meeting expenses. We did increase in 2018 the per diem from 50 to 75 for all the appointed citizens serving on advisory committee. That was the first increase since 2000. On March 12th of 19, you approved an increase to the Planning Commission, Board of Adjustment Committee members per diem rates to 125 per meeting and 75 per site visit. We did not make changes to the resolution based on that, and so if you do want to make a change, then we need to modify the resolution. It is otherwise to continue the status quo.
Any questions?
Motion to approve.
Commissioner
Second.
Coring makes a motion to approve.
Second.
Commissioner Franzine makes the second. Therese, if you would call the roll, please.
Commissioner Franzine,
Aye.
Commissioner Coring,
Aye.
Commissioner Brecken,
Aye.
Commissioner Hogg,
Aye.
Commissioner Barrows.
Chair votes aye. That motion passes. We're on to number 5, the 2021 AMC Delegate and Policy Committee appointments.
Mr. Chair, members of the board, enclosed in your packet is also a resolution we take up each year. It is to designate the delegates and the policy committee appointments to the Association of Minnesota Counties on behalf of Crow Wing County. The senior managers listed there, it's recommended that 2 of the delegate positions rotate between the senior managers. Every year I ask, is anybody interested? We have 2 people that are interested this year, the Administrative Services Director and the Community Services Director. The county administrator is also typically one of the 8. We have 8 delegate appointments, so it's the 5 county commissioners, typically the county administrator, and then 2 rotating senior managers. That's how we have historically done it. The policy committee appointments that are listed below would be no changes from what have been the case in the past, so I put it forward for your consideration. Happy to answer any questions.
Any concerns, changes, questions? Seeing none, I would look for, or hearing none, I would look for a motion to approve.
So moved.
Commissioner Franzine makes the motion to approve.
I'll second.
Commissioner Brecken seconds that motion. Therese, if you would call this roll call, please.
Mr. Chair, can I just confirm that it will
Yes.
be the Administrative Services Director and the Community Services Director as the 2 senior managers?
Yes.
Thank you. Commissioner Coring,
Aye.
Commissioner Brecken,
Aye.
Commissioner Hoag,
Aye.
Commissioner Franzine,
Aye.
Commissioner Barrows.
Chair votes yes. Motion passes. Thank you. We'll now move on to the County Commissioner Committee appointments.
Mr. Chair, members of the board, the next 2 items are routine things that we have to do over the course of, we typically, January, if there are any vacancies, sometimes we'll spill over into February for the citizen ones. But enclosed in your packet is the list of committee appointments that have historically been appointed by the chair. And so it's put forward for your consideration as to whether or not board members wish to exchange any of these committee appointments. Otherwise, the chair is eligible to make the appointments that aren't required to be statutorily done. We usually cover those separately.
In terms of the County Commissioner Committee appointments, are there any changes, bargaining that's going on between each other? Seeing none, we will do it. Does that require a board action there?
No, Mr.
You-
Chair, you
you
can make
appoint.
those
I
appointments.
can make those appointments. I will make those appointments as they stand. The second one is the Citizen Committee appointments, and I will go to that. I know I have, District 3 has 2 on there. They both have agreed that they would like to continue, and I will make those appointments.
That would be Becky Best to the
Becky
Planning
Best.
Commission and Board of Adjustment, and Ray Griffin to the Transportation
Yes.
Advisory Committee, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
So why don't we go around just to make sure, so start with Commissioner Hoag.
I have none today.
Okay, so,
I've got to reach out to
okay,
the people, yep.
Commissioner Franzine?
Would you reappoint Rock to Planning and Zoning or the Planning Commission Board of Adjustment? But I haven't been able to, or I haven't contacted my TAC representative.
Okay, so at this time, I will appoint Rock to
Okay.
the PCBOA.
Thank you.
Commissioner Coring?
These are done.
You know, Mr. Chairman, I believe that I took care of this at the last meeting, unless Therese has got me that I missed. But I did ask you last time to appoint, I believe it was Ronnie Roscoe to the Transportation Committee, and I'm drawing a blank on the Natural Resources Advisory Committee, but I did ask you last time, so unless
And they
Therese
were
has got
done.
me more.
Okay, and that, I guess that has been done, Commissioners, so thank you very much.
Yes.
Commissioner Brecken?
We'd appoint Mr. Gibbons to the Natural Resources Committee, Mr. Scogan to Planning and Board of Adjustments, and the fact that I do serve with Mr. Schoenbrock of Raleigh Johnson, he has also agreed. I do have to wait on Ms. Mortensen until we get a commitment from that. So 3 out of the 4.
Okay, those I will approve.
And
And
Mr.
appoint?
Chair, we have a few at-large to appoint, and Chris Pence and Roger Roy from Natural Resources Advisory Committee have both said they would like to be reappointed. And you already went through the Raleigh Johnson one, so I guess it's just those other 2, Chris Pence and Roger Roy.
I will make those appointments.
And I think that's all of them for
Okay.
today.
Thank you, everyone, for contacting them, and we'll look forward to additional appointments as we move forward. We're now on to additional business. Any additional business? Hearing none. Take this opportunity to thank the board for the support to be the chair for 2021. I appreciate that. And hopefully we will have a quieter 2021 than we did 2020. It's interesting, we started 2020 with some issues that we needed to deal with on the finance side, and then we get the pandemic, and because we thought we were going to get through that at the mid-year point, and find out that it's just one issue after another. So to the staff and everybody, thank you very much for everything you've done in 2020, and hopefully we will have a little better year in 2021. Always cautious, but thank you very much for everybody's effort. And with that, I would look for a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Mr. Hoag makes the motion to adjourn. Commissioner Franzine seconds that motion. Therese, if you would call that roll call real fast, please.
Commissioner Brecken?
Aye.
Commissioner Hoag?
Aye.
Commissioner Franzine?
Aye.
Commissioner Coring?
Aye.
Commissioner Barrows?
Chair votes aye. We are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Have a good day, Paul.
Paul,